Hello there, my name is Bob Pickering, Emergency Management Technician. I'll be presenting this edition of the Flagler Weather Update from here at the Emergency Operations Center. Just a reminder, I'm not a meteorologist. All the weather information I present comes from the National Weather Service. Okay, quick overview of the bulletins are up for Flagler County. Still have the high risk of rip currents at the beaches, and we still have the coastal flood warning that is due to tidal flooding along the Intracoastal Waterway, as well as Hog Creek, Dead Lake, and those places. We'll talk more about that in a little bit. But the good news is you're not seeing as many of these as there has been earlier this week. Quick look at Tropical Cyclone Nate. It's forecast to stay well west of Flagler County, so really not an issue for us. Could possibly sling some moisture our way. It's kind of a knock-on effect of this thing out in the Gulf of Mexico, but no direct impacts are expected from this. As a matter of fact, the hurricane watches, warnings, all that stuff are well off to the west of us. We're not expecting to see any kind of winds from this tropical cyclone at all. So let's move right along. The main concerns we're seeing right now is flooding along the Intracoastal Waterway and Dead Lake. This is the flood gauge out at Matanzas River, which is on the Intracoastal Waterway, Bing's Landing. You can see that we're still getting up into the moderate to minor to occasionally moderate flood stage the last several days, and it looks like this is going to continue. We have the king tides going on top of the winds. The winds have blown water into the inland waterway systems, and that's trapped some water in there, and that's why this is running so high, as well as the king tides. Now, those winds decreasing is going to help allow some of that water to escape, but the king tides are still increasing, so it's going to kind of keep things status quo for right now, at least through the weekend. The next week we should start to see some improvement. Now let's take a look out there. Hog Creek is another issue we got going on, and we're flirting between moderate to major flood stage, and it looks like it's leveled off. We're not seeing any improvement out there just yet, and that heavy rainfall we had probably is not going to help this. So we're looking at pretty steady flooding conditions out there. Dead Lake, the fish camp and the restaurant, those areas out there are likely to continue to experience some high water and flooding problems, at least through the weekend. Maybe we'll see some improvement come next week. Now, if we get any additional heavy rainfall, it could actually cause this to get worse or keep it going a little bit longer. So an overview of our flooding situation. Minor to moderate flooding continues along low-lying areas of the Intracoastal Waterway. So if you live in an area that typically floods when we have high water in the Intracoastal, we're not looking at anything like Irma, but if you live in an area that typically floods, between South 23rd, South 25th Street, Flagler Ave, and Flagler Beach is one area. The western parts of Beverly Beach there, some of the other low-lying areas right along the Intercoastal Waterway. If you're in one of those places, that's a normal trouble spot, and you need to pay attention to what's going on with the water levels in your area and be prepared to take protective action should you need to do so. Out there by Dead Lake, that's still going to be an issue out there. Moderate to major flooding will be an issue at least through the weekend into next week. With that, we should see some slow improvement next week, providing we don't get hit with any real heavy rain. The intercoastal, it looks like you're pretty much going to see some improvement regardless, because that's more tidal. But the inland areas, as long as we don't get a lot of heavy rain, we should start to see some improvement overall next week. So let's take a look at our rainfall forecast. Bulk of it is staying off to the west of us, though we still have some rainfall forecast, almost about an inch or so in our region for the next several days. With that being said, though, we could always get localized amounts that are a lot higher than some of these numbers in here. So, but the rainfall is still going to be a risk that we're going to be dealing with. Overall, though, winds are decreasing. There could be some heavy rainfall, and that could result in localized flooding, especially if we get a lot of it in a short period of time. That sort of stuff is just really hard to pinpoint where it's going to happen until it starts to unfold. Decreasing surf and improving conditions at the beaches. That's some good news as well. Friday through Saturday, sunny spells and clouds, scattered showers and thunderstorms will be the rule. Scattered showers and storms, variable clouds and sunny spells. Highs mid to upper 80s, a little bit warmer on Saturday. Lows generally in mid to upper 70s, again a little bit warmer on Saturday. Looks like a little bit more unsettled weather on Sunday. Looks like we're going to see a round or two of some thunderstorms, and it'll be pretty much county-wide. Again, the risk of some heavy rainfall with that, I'm afraid. And looking at highs in the upper 80s, lows generally in the mid 70s. But as we get to next week, the outlook right now, the way things stand, warmer and a bit drier, still the risk of the odd shower or storm. Upper 80s to near 90, lows in the mid 70s. Beaches 4 to 6 feet on the surf. That should continue to decrease. Surf temperature 82 degrees. Still a high risk of rip currents. Could be wild for that settles down. And there's a high UV index. Make sure you got your sunblock going on if you're going outside for any length of time. So that's going to wrap things up from here at the Operations Center right now. We're planning another update early next week. Of course, anything really breaks will be here over the weekend. FlaglerCounty.org is a go-to website for lots of good preparedness information and weather information. turn on your weather radio, hurricanes.gov, to keep on what's going on with Nate. You do want to pay attention to Nate in case there's an unexpected change. We're not expecting that, though. For local weather impacts, weather.gov/jacks. And you can catch this program on Spectrum by tuning in to channel 492, or get on YouTube and search for Flagler County. Find our YouTube channel. Not only can you see this, you can see all kinds of other really cool Flagler County programming. That's going to wrap it up from the EOC. Have a wonderful weekend.